Wizards don't know who they're going to play in the first round. They don't know who they're going to play in the second round if they do advance to the second round. But here's the question. And if you're a Wizards fan, you can chime in at 800-636-1067. Do you rest your starters now?
No, I
Do you rest your guys because, God forbid, what if somebody tweaks an ankle in these last two meaningless games for them? There's nothing they are locked in on the 4 seed. Can't move up to the 3 seed. Toronto's locked that up. They're not going to move down to the 5 seed if they lose both games. So they are locked in. Everything is out of their control in terms of who they will play in the first round. Everything is out of their control in terms of who they play in the second round. Do you rest your starters or do you go for 50 risking injury?
I am widely known in these parts as the world's most conservative GM / coach.
But
I'm resting them. Sorry. At one point, I thought the 50 was like a really big thing. I've softened on that. I would rather have my guys fresh, especially because Beal and Wall, look at the minutes per games those guys play. Those guys log serious, heavy minutes, even with all the guys that they added to help bolster the bench. I'm resting them. I don't care about 50 wins. You know what I care about? Playoff wins.
I don't care.
Advancing in the playoffs.
I don't care
That's what
as
I care
much about 50 wins. I'm against cakes. I don't rest the guys. And here's why. You're not playing very well right now. You've lost 4 out of the last 6 games. Remember when we were talking about the Caps earlier in the show and how this year, because they were pushed to win the President's Trophy, they actually are playing well, winning some big games down the stretch? The Wizards have lost 4 of their last 6 games. They had a home game against the Heat, and I know the Heat are battling for the last spot in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. It's a bad loss.
I'm going to chalk that up to...
You should take care of business at home against the Miami.
I'm going to chalk that up to late season malaise.
Okay. I think it's good when you're a 4 seed facing a 5 seed. That's not a gimme first-round matchup. To enter the playoffs in a malaise and with guys not playing well.
I'm with you for that reason, and also the fact that I think the 50-win mark is important for the franchise. I think you want to have some momentum. I think it's only 2 games. If somebody gets hurt, they get hurt.
And I think Coach Brooks is, my guess is Coach Brooks is
I'll
of
be
that
stunned
mindset.
if he starts benching guys.
Coach Brooks said on
I'll be stunned.
Thursday when he joined you guys that 50 wins was meaningful to him. He thought it was.
It's not like
he thought it was a good target to go for.
It's not like we got it all figured out. We gave up like against the Warriors the other day. We got like 130 some odd points.
Let me make it
139.
clear. I'm not saying that Coach Brooks will bench him. Coach Cakes would bench his guys.
Coach Cakes.
Okay, let's just make it clear.
Because you think that's the right move.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, there's a reason why I topped out at coaching like 8-year-olds, and Coach Brooks is making $7 million a year coaching the Wiz.
Well, he also played in the NBA. Beyond coaching 8-year-olds,
his
he
basketball
played in the NBA.
His basketball resume is slightly better than mine.
Yeah.
I think they need to stay focused. They need to try to build some momentum. And I actually think it's important for the franchise to try to hit that 50-win plateau. I think it would mean something to the franchise.
I think so. Numbers 800-636-1067. But all along, I kind of thought that the first-round matchup would be easy for the Wizards, particularly when they were streaking and it looked like they might even get a 2 seed. Like there were a couple weeks where we're like, they got a shot at a 2 seed. Now at the 4 seed, you're going to play a Hawks team potentially that, like I said, they beat Cleveland last night. The thing about the Hawks is they kind of had a down year, but they've had injuries this year. Like that's going to be a tough series.
I don't know why
and if they played the Bucks, would be a tough series.
I don't know why you would ever think that any playoff series would be easy for the Wizards.
Well, but they were playing like
they
were playing. There was a period of time there from January till middle of March, maybe, where they actually had the best record in basketball in that period of time. They were actually a game better than the Cavs before the Cavs' recent swoon.
Right.
They had the best record from January to mid-March. So you did assume there at that point
with that record,
that in that first round that would pretty much be a given.
But don't you think with that record they're going to regress at some point? Now you're seeing a little bit of it toward the season. They're not at pace.
Well, I don't know. I thought maybe they were one of the top 1 or 2 teams in the Eastern Conference, and they've clearly come way off of that.
The dagger will be
they played
if
like
they
it
end
for
up
3
facing
months.
Cleveland in the second round. The whole thing was hopefully they would get a 2 seed to avoid Cleveland.
Again, that's that's loser talk. You know what? If you're gonna advance to the playoffs, you got to beat a Cleveland. You have to beat if you're the Caps. Sorry, you have to probably face the Pens in the second round and beat them. You can't always be afraid of facing the better teams in your divisions. Sorry, you can't just always die. Oh, I hope Columbus beats the Pens so we don't have to face them. Well, you know what? Here's a bulletin. Columbus is pretty good too. So you're going to have to advance through them to get to where you want to go if you're the Caps or, in this case, the Wizards. You know what? If you got the Cavs, bring them on. Let's see them in the second round. That's if you get out of the first round.
I actually am not. The Cavs are going to find a way to be uber competitive in the playoffs, and I would think they would be heavy favorites, even though they're not playing that great.
Of course, they'll be faves.
But by the same token, I'm not as scared to play them as I have been in years past, if that makes any sense.
Right.
Because they have shown vulnerability. But want to hear from you. What would you do as a Wizards fan? What would you want as a Wizards fan? Do you want them to shut them down and rest up for the playoffs, or go for the 50?